Welcome to the Sunday Stoic Podcast.
Wisdom,
Prudentia,
justice,
Justitia,
temperance,
Temperantia,
courage.
Fortitudo.
Applying ancient philosophy to modern life, this is the Sunday Stoic.
Oh, please. Oh, calm. No, come on, sit down. Oh, come on, that's enough. Welcome to the Sunday Stoic Podcast. Obviously, I'm playing with a program I haven't used before to record this episode that has a few annoying sound effects, hence the sound effects. But this is a podcast where we explore the ancient philosophy of Stoicism and how we can apply it to modern life. If you hear noises in the background, it's because I live a real life. I'm recording this in my living room with a child running around and my wife doing things, so you'll just have to accept that with indifference. This week we will hear from Marcus Aurelius from Book 5 of his Meditations, and we're going to hear about what soul, he's thinking about what soul is he using to live in this world. Sort of what lens are you using to interpret what is happening, and how are you putting yourself out there in the world? Are you standing up for your values, what he would consider, being a man? Are you whimpering and hiding in the corner like a child? What are you doing? How are you living? And in the second reading, he's going to question what is truly good. And what would the consequences be if stuff is truly good and we got as much of it as we could handle, or more than we could handle? What would happen if we had all the, quote, goods, unquote, that we could ever want? So that's what we'll hear from this week. So I want to thank you all for joining me this week. Getting over a cold, it's been kind of a rough week, but trying to handle it with indifference. It's finally getting chilly here in Arkansas. The leaves are changing colors. Autumn is upon us. And now it's time for me to get out there and do some yard work as soon as this cold has fully been conquered. My cold is in the illness, not the cold is in the weather. As soon as I've conquered that, I got to split some firewood to get it off the ground. I had a bunch of pine trees cut down. I need to apply myself to labor, something that this college professor sometimes avoids too much. So that is going to be my attempt to put myself to work and avoid being lazy here in the next few days. But meanwhile, let's hear from Marcus Aurelius on his thoughts on applying his soul and the value of what other people might call good. The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 5, Number 11. What use do I put my soul to? It is a serviceable question, this, and should frequently be put to oneself. How does my ruling part stand affected? And whose soul have I now? That of a child, or a young man, or a feeble woman, or of a tyrant, or of cattle, or wild beasts? Number 12. What sort of good things those are, which are commonly so reckoned, you may learn from hence. For the purpose, if you reflect upon those qualities which are intrinsically valuable, such as prudence, temperance, justice, and fortitude, you will not find it possible afterwards to give ear to those, for this is not suitable to a good man. But if you have once conceived as good what appears so to the many, you will hear and gladly accept as suitable the saying of the comic writer. Thus, we see the generality, are struck with the distinction, otherwise, they would not dislike the liberty in one case and allow it in the other, holding it suitable and witty jest when it is directed against wealth and the means that further luxury and ambition. Now, what significancy and excellence can there be in these things, to which may be applied the poet's jest, that excess of luxury leaves no room to shit? All right, here we are. Sorry if this doesn't sound like a normal episode. Like I said, using different recording software, giving this a go. But let's talk about what Marcus had to say today. Marcus is talking first about what soul does he have? How does he put it to work? Like me avoiding going outside and splitting firewood. I hurt my back the other week doing it, so I'm like, oh, I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to be cold. I'd rather sit inside and watch Netflix. What am I putting my soul to service in? Is it to laziness, to luxury, to not doing one's duty? And how does my ruling principle that should be all of my values lived, all of my values concentrated and put forth into the world? Oh, now my son's ringing the doorbell. Anyway, how does it stand affected? Whose soul do I have? That of a little kid that's running and hiding? That of a young man who's not sure of himself? Of a tyrant who makes his decisions and charges forward regardless of consequences? Is it of cattle? Am I domesticated? Am I a wild beast? Unthinking? Who am I? What am I? Am I living up to what I want to be? The second reading, hard to read in this old translation because of the old language, but I will break down what I get out of it. And I recommend you check out some modern translations, which are a little easier to understand. But he says, what are these good things that the multitudes say are good? And he says, first of all, let's reflect on this. If when you're first learning, you learn the intrinsic value of the virtues, prudence, making good decisions based on evidence and knowledge, temperance, that's self-control, justice, being good to others, and fortitude, being able to stick with what you say is good, and also being brave. If you know that these are intrinsically valuable, you will note that other things are not intrinsically valuable, like this Bluetooth speaker sitting next to me, and my guitar, and this computer. These are not intrinsically valuable. They are things that I use, and their use to accomplish virtue is what gives them some kind of value. They're not goods in the Stoic sense, but they have some value because I can use them to accomplish good things. But he says, if instead you learn what goods are and understand them in the way that the common masses understand them, oh, this computer is a good thing. If it was destroyed, I would be devastated. No, not really, because you can still do good without it, right? Oh, my car is a good. My life is a good. Well, no, your life is the vehicle by which you may accomplish good things. So he asks us to reflect on that, and he makes reference to some ancient plays of which I know nothing about. But he then says, but let's think about it. Real goods, the virtues, are few and simple. There are 4 virtues. We should live up to them. They are intrinsically valuable. Everything else is not intrinsically valuable. In fact, if we had all the goods, let's say you are the luckiest person in the world and that stuff is really a good and you have it all, then your home would be so full of goods that you wouldn't have anywhere to use the bathroom, basically. That's what they're saying. You would have no room to live if your life was full of what these other folks think are good. So this week, remind yourself that the stuff around you is not a good. It is a vehicle for you to accomplish good things. And if it's not that, if it's just a thing that's in the way, in the way of you going to to take a dump, as he alludes to here. Maybe it should be given away or sold or gotten rid of. Maybe it serves no real purpose. Meanwhile, with what soul are you inhabiting this world? Are you living up to your virtues, your values, or are you cowering in the corner? And what can be done to get you one step closer to living with the soul that you want to live? Something to think about. Meanwhile, shoot me an email, sundaystoic@gmail.com. Say hi, drop me a line, let me know you're listening. That would be awesome. And until then, put this stuff to use and seize the day. Carpe diem. Now, how do I stop this thing?